everybody, I've got a new video about the Shadow Utility Spells, a concept by Alexander Lionheart. He created basically the concept for Bolstered Ward, which is a spell that's actually in game. I guess King's Hollow saw it and they were like, that would be a pretty cool spell, and they decided to actually add it to Wizard101. So these aren't real, but they could actually be real one day, and I really like these ideas because basically with Shadow Utility Spells, like, a lot of people are always complaining about the shadow enhanced spells. You know, it's too overpowered, take it out of PvP, ban it, blah blah blah. Well, with these, they're not. None of these are actual like damage spells, really. They're just like things sort of like mana burn, supernova, and these. Something like this is needed because we haven't had utility spells added in a long time, and it makes no sense. Like, we really need utility spells to the game. So let's get started with the first one, and that is Powder Keg for fire. And basically what it does is it does ×2 of damage to a damage over time tick on the first person, and then it adds that tick to the other wizards on that person's team. So let's say you're in a 4v4 and you cast a Burning Rampage on the first person. After that round, you cast Powder Keg on the person, and it will do 2,000 damage to that person instead of 1,000 damage. It will basically multiply it by 2. And then what it does is it adds the tick to all 4 of that person's teammates, and it will do 1,000 damage to them instead of 2,000. It will just do 1,000. I'm gonna be like deciding whether these are overpowered or like needed or necessary for a school based on their needs. I don't think this is needed for fire because fire is able to manipulate with DOTs a lot in PvP already. However, is it overpowered? No, because if you think about it, if you cast a Raging Bull, it already does 2,000 damage up front. So basically what this does is it allows you to cast it on a Burning Rampage and do 2,000 damage up front with the Burning Rampage, or 3,000, depends on how much you already buffed it up, how much damage you have, how much pierce, etc. And then it does 1,000 to the teammates. In 1v1 this could be very deadly, and in 4v4 it will be extremely deadly, but I don't think it's too overpowered. So Powder Keg, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You're free to comment whatever you want. What do you think these are all overpowered? What do you think some are needed? What strategies would you use for these? So that's the first one. And the second one is Frozen Heart, and I don't really like this one at all because Ice already has Weaver, and it would just be way too overpowered. But let's go ahead and read it. Frozen Heart, basically what it does is, like in Unveiling Hands, it heals you for 500 health on the first round, and then it gives you a wall that looks like ice surrounding you, and it absorbs 1,000 damage to you for as long as the person, basically, like, they have to destroy the absorb, like any other absorb. And it gives you 250 health per round. It gives you a health tick. So it heals you first round, gives you that wall, and gives you a tick. And the tick does not go away until the absorb is broken. Too overpowered? I don't think Ice needs this at all. Well, I don't think. I know Ice does not need this, and I'm pretty sure almost every other person would agree as well. It is way too overpowered. The only good thing about this is that it costs a Shadow Pip, and that's what I like about all of these spells. This is why we need Shadow Utility spells, is because they would cost a Shadow Pip. So, if somebody casts like Powder Keg, you're not necessarily wasting only 3 pips, you're wasting a Shadow Pip as well. So there's no guarantee that you can do that and then follow up with the FFA unless you actually get the Shadow Pip. So, but Frozen Heart is too overpowered, because if somebody does get a Shadow Pip right after, they can cast Weaver, and then they'd have a negative 75 shield, a health DOT, and a wall surrounding them that is absorbing 1,000 health and or 1,000 damage, and that is just way too overpowered. Ice does not need this, but still is a interesting concept, interesting idea to look at, but I don't think Ice needs this at all. So the next one is Thunder Surge, and this deals half of the damage of the hit that you did that round. So basically, if you cast Rosalka's Wrath right after you casted your Thunder Surge, which lasts for 2 rounds, and then your Rosalka does 2,500 damage, it does half of that damage to the person again, so it does 1,200 damage after that. Is this overpowered? No, actually, I don't think it is, because with the new critical update, Storm is kind of weaker than they already were with 4,000 health, so they kind of need those spells to finish off an opponent quickly. And I know probably a lot of people will complain about it, but I don't think it is too overpowered, because it says that if you do not use the Thunder Surge for those 2 rounds that is up, it will go away. So let's say you cast Thunder Surge. The bolt, it basically looks like clouds. These all look like shadow creatures, but for your school, or like sort of shadow things above you, which makes sense because it's shadow utility spells. So let's say you cast the Thunder Surge, you get the clouds and the bolts ahead of you or above you. If you don't use the 2 rounds of the surges, so basically you have 2 of these surges that you can use. The first round after you casted it, if you don't hit, it goes away. It takes away 1 of the surges. And then after that, the second round, the final round that you have for this effect, if you do hit, it basically takes away that surge as well. I don't know if this makes any sense, but it's basically like a shadow creature. Like if you cast Nova, but you don't cast a Blade right after that, it's going to basically decrease, or it's going to use up that round for you. It basically, like, it gives you 2 rounds to hit somebody 2 times in a row, and it does half of the damage that it did. So the next one is Balance, and it's called Stacked Deck, and this is like the most unique spell, and it's also sort of the least like powerful one. Like it doesn't do a damage effect to anything, or it doesn't remove anything. So for 4 rounds, you will have an extra 11 cards instead of 7. Like usually, your spell deck only provides you with 7 cards each round, and you can discard those, and draw for treasure cards. But this will allow balance wizards to have 11 in hand at once, and you can infinitely draw and discard TC, even ones that you draw the same round. So usually, you know how like if you draw a treasure card, you can't discard it that same round. But with this, a balance wizard can draw an infoul TC and be like, nah, I don't want that, discard it, and just keep drawing. And like this could be really helpful because if they, you know how like usually you're trying to combo somebody to finish them off and get a stun, and you don't draw that stun DC, well, if you're facing a balance, look out, because they could cast this, maybe they'll get a Shadow Pip, cast a Gaze next round, and then stun into something, who knows, but it's all based on chance for these spells, because you don't know if you'll get a Shadow Pip. You're using a Shadow Pip, basically, for a utility spell. Like, imagine if Mana Burn had a Shadow Pip on it. How much do you think balance wizards would, spam that like they already do? Like, they wouldn't. They would use it in certain situations. They would use it more as a strategy instead of just, like, mana burn first round, because there's no guarantee that you're going to get a Shadow Pip next round and be able to kill. So yeah, that's Stacked Deck. And then the next one is Death, and that's Undying Spirit, which is basically like a Guardian Spirit for Death. So what this does is it will cause the caster to not be able to be killed for the next 3 rounds, and if somebody casts a spell that would have killed you, let's say you're at 500 health and someone casts a Rizalka, I keep using that as an example, or let's say somebody cast a Weaver on you, and that Weaver would have done 1200 damage and killed you. Instead, you will be at 100 health instead of getting killed completely, and this effect lasts for 3 rounds, and it also depletes your ability to heal, so your incoming heal is negative 65%. And you cannot, so like if you cast a fairy, it's not going to do anything, but no one heals at max PvP except for life, and already Death has drain spells, and it says on Stars of the Spiral, which is where, this article was written, it says that if you cast this, drain spells will not be affected by the negative 60% health boost. So basically, you could cast a vampire and get your health back, and then you could cast a Lulu if you get a Shadow Pip and kill somebody. So yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be salty about this spell if it was used on someone, used on them, like when they were about to kill you, and then like you don't die and you just kill them. But at the same time, it's all based on chance. Like who's to say they'll get a Shadow Pit right after that and be able to kill you? Next we have Myth, and this one is really strategic. It's called Gorgon's Gaze, and all of your damage spells in your deck will become amplified with a stun effect for 2 rounds. Spells that already have stun effects on them will have an extra stun added. Like Medusa will do 3 stuns instead of 2. And that's really OP. And it says if you use this just right, you can stun somebody for 6 rounds. I don't know how. I've spent time thinking about how that is even possible with the spell. I don't know, but they said that it would be possible to stun somebody for 6 rounds with the right combo. And it only lasts for 2 rounds, and it also gives the caster 100% stun resist, so you can't stun them like, how usually if somebody strikes, you can stun them and try and up their backlash, or just, basically ruin their plan to try and kill you with Fallen Strike. Well, if somebody casts this, you can't stun them at all, and you're going to want to put up quadruple stun blocks, because they can cast you know, some major combos on this. So I really like that one. It's kind of overpowered, but I don't think Myth needs it, but I think it would be a good spell to use, especially for strategy. Like, I still don't know how you can stun somebody for 6 rounds with it, but, you know, there are people out there who are really smart and will be able to figure that out, so it will be a really nice strategic bonus to the game. Finally, Cleansing Spirit. And this one is not the best for a 1v1, but it's really, really good for 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. Because what it does is all of the debuffs that are casted on you or your allies will be cleansed right after, and this lasts for 3 rounds. So if somebody storm dispels your hitter and your life, you cast Cleansing Spirit. That same round, the dispel just goes away right before the person hits, even if they didn't use a storm hit. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what they used. They could have casted a balance blade and had a storm dispel on them. It just goes away right after the person cast it on them. So they can't dispel you, and they can't cast DOTs on you either for 3 rounds. And yeah, it's a really great spell for 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4. For 1v1, not so much, but maybe it could be used as a strategy. There are some really strategic people out there, like, you never know. So that's what I like about these spells. It's just kind of a mystery there, but it's also just a straight up obvious, unstoppable force to the spell, and I think this would be really great if KingsIsle added these. If they do something like this, definitely make it be shadow utility spells and not just a regular update for utility spells, because like, if it's going to be these type of spells, no, that's way too overpowered to just be 3 pips and be able to do something like Powder Keg, or, you know, especially the ice one. That's, I don't want that added, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about these spells in the comments below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe. Let me know, like, you could even leave some suggestions for your own, like, ideas for spells, or, you know, say what you think you would, like, talk about strategies that you will be able to use if you had these spells yourself, or maybe, you know, talk about what do you think was overpowered, what do you think was underpowered. It's all up to you. Yeah, hopefully KingsIsle will add new utility spells soon, because it's been a really long time since we've had our utility spells, and we really need them. Maybe there will be a new Winter Tusk or Grizzleheim, and we'll be able to get them in Spell Quest. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and peace. Fire when the storm hits you.
That's it, friend? Yes.